Okay, I got my memory stick last night. I put the camera out for Starlapse, so I'm going to load it up. I'm going to show the whole process of how long it takes me to do this now. I think this is a good demonstration of actually the work that goes into it. The work, it's not much anymore, thankfully. And how long it just takes to do this process now. So, 6 yesterday. Was I taking pictures of birds yesterday? I'm pretty sure I was. So I find my time here. Now I bought a new. There's a video a few weeks ago. I bought a new card reader, and the card reader is significantly faster. Am I not? Why did I'm fully out? Okay, just making sure. The card reader is significantly faster than the last card reader. It drops like a second off. So instead of taking 3 seconds, it takes 2 seconds to whatever. So we're seeing it's 83 gigs. 83 gigs of data I'm writing down to a disk. But I'm not writing it to the local hard drive. I'm writing it to a USB-C 4, no, Thunderbolt 5 port. So it's 80 gigs should take around 3 or 4 minutes. And then the whole processing takes around that long. So like the whole thing, this is the longest part now. So I have 1,234 images. 1,234 images. And that's, I mean, I can blah, 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 I guess, about it. But these are all 32 gig, 32 gigs, ooh, 33 megapixel images. So what I want to do is just show the whole process. And this, I load the images. Still waiting. Load the images. We're almost halfway done though. Load them, download the images, load them into Lightroom, do a little bit of editing to make the stars come out a little bit better, export them as JPEG, take all those JPEGs, put them into QuickTime as an image sequence, and that'll create it, and that'll be it. Now, at 50 gigs out of 83. So like I said, this is the longest part. I wish there's a way I could move them even faster, but there's not. This is the fastest USB-C CF Express A card reader I could find. Maybe they'll come out with a Thunderbolt 5 at some point, probably, but that doesn't exist as of May 14th, 2025. Maybe the 15th it comes out, and it would be, I'll probably buy it later on. I got a bunch of other stuff I need to pay for first. So 70 gigs. So like most of the time when I'm doing this, I just set it up and then I'll just sit on my phone and wait, or go do something else, go grab a drink, go in the morning. Sometimes I'll just be, when I'm loading the images, I'll go make sure the dogs are eating, make sure, getting ready for work or whatnot. Eating my breakfast is the majority of the time. It's like the afternoon now. We're done. So I'm going to pop this card out real quick. We're going to pull open Lightroom. This is the time lapse from the other day. So now I just find my image. I do it in Lightroom Classic just because I've always used Lightroom Classic, and it's very, very easy for me to use. If you look towards the top left of the screen, you'll see how these two operations, one's import and one is fetching images, or yeah, creating the thumbnails basically. This goes through all my this is a CPU, fairly CPU intensive because it's a multi-threaded app. QuickTime is not multi-threaded, and you'll see that it does take a moment for it to create. You think it would be faster, but it's a single thread. Single thread stuff on a M3 Ultra isn't as fast as you'd want it to be. It's super, super fast compared to my Intel i9, but it's not as fast. So initial previews, I'm going to let that run all the way through. It doesn't take much longer. You'll see that it's burning through CPUs right now, and it's actually letting up a little bit. My heat, when I'm doing this is the hottest it gets. It typically will get around, 140, 145 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's it. So I take a look at the images and you can see the thumbnail colors. I started this just before last light, so there is a bit of a, if you just look at the overall images, so I'll usually start at the first image when they all start looking a little more uniformed. So in this case, it's the 21st image. I literally just created this for the most part. I created this screenshot, and for the most part, it should be fairly accurate if I could get, there it is. Why is it doing that? 4737. These are usually my benchmarks, or I don't know what term I would use. 50. 46 and 69, 31. So there. This, the difference last night is I open up the aperture a little bit more. So I usually just shoot it wide open, which on this lens is 2.8, but I did it at 4. So you can see that right here. 25-second exposure, for f4, ISO 100. I want it to be as tack sharp as possible at 16 millimeters. So now we are 7 minutes in. So 21 all the way to the end, not really, because the sun comes out at like, the sun starts to come out at like 6. I think first light is 6:04, so I stopped this right before that. So let's go to around here. So it's not going to be all the 1200 images either. This is pacing it and syncing everything. So all those settings go to all the other images. This isn't a Lightroom tutorial, but it is kind of a, hey, look at all the work I have to do to get this thing to go. So now the longest part, which used to be these drive, I don't know why it does it. It's because of the drive, I think. I have so many drives on here because I have so much data. So this is yesterday's. It's like the drive just caches so much and it doesn't read the drive, it just opens the cache first. I don't know if there's a way around that. So now all of my directories show up. I don't know why, exactly why it does that. So it's set to export 8:35. Boom, okay. 8 minutes and 35 seconds. I started the export. It should only take around 3 minutes to do this many images, which in this case is 1,170 images. So this, again, CPU multi-threaded process. So you're using the whole breadth of the CPU and all of the many threads as Lightroom will take. So works really well. If you're watching, the last video I was doing in real time was the mango. These mango jerkies are delicious. It's basically eating a mango but dried. So I bought a box of these. I gotta take some to my mom. She'll like these. She likes mangoes. So eating my mango. It's like, this is what I do in the majority, like in the morning, if I do it in the morning, which today I didn't do it in the morning just because I was going to make the video and I didn't have time in the morning to do it. I'm normally eating my breakfast while this is going. So, a minute and a half approximately. We're about 40% done. I should have put it on the local drive now that I think of it. I have plenty of space. I'm not going to always move it later. But the raw files are what gets you. If I were to keep all the raw files, which my pack rat brain wants to, I'd have stacks of drives by now, or a SAN that's almost full like I do now. I end up just chunking the raw files because all I need to do is extract the data, make the video from the data, from the images, and the video is all I need. I don't need the images anymore because I've already done the manipulation in Lightroom of what I need to make the image look better. But otherwise, yeah, I would have no disk space, or I would just spend half of my paycheck buying discs, which I'm not going to do. So once I'm done with them, I chunk them. I'll wait until the drive gets about halfway full, and then I'll see, and that's why I put them in their own directory, so that way I can just find a directory I named raw inside of each day and just grab that and chunk it. So that way I don't have to sort and all that stuff. I can just, okay, I know it's raw, the raw directory, I can chunk. So we are 3 minutes in. It's going a little bit slower because I do have other apps open and I did not reboot. So this thing has been sitting on for a couple of days. Ooh, what's today, Wednesday? Probably a week. And I've been doing this a bunch, so it does slow down, but the slowness does come from Lightroom mostly. I did try an application that's basically this called Darktable. I need to try that again. I was using it on my i9 Mac and it was working pretty well, so I'm assuming it'll work well here. But I don't know if it supports multi-threading because that's where this machine shines when you do multi-threaded apps. So we're almost done. It is taking it almost took 4 minutes to do it. Not the end of the world. It would normally on my i9 would take around 70 minutes, and now I can do it in under 5. So it's done. Go into QuickTime, open image sequence, go find my photos, sort them by time. This is a USB-C drive and not an NVMe. It might be an NVMe with a different interface, but I'm not totally sure. But they're not super, super fast, but they're a good price and they work really well. So choose my image, my sequence. I do it at 1080p because most of the things I do, 4K wouldn't really work. Or 4K, you're not going to notice that big of a difference. I've done it at 4K and you just get a larger file, but the majority of people are looking at it on their phones anyway. So as long as it's HD, I think that's good enough. So this is going to take a moment. And if you notice on my CPU usage, single thread. I don't think QuickTime uses multi-threading. Nobody's going to watch this far, but if somebody does watch this far and you know, please correct me. I'd like to know. Yeah, uptime is 6 days, 6.5, almost 7 days. It's still an OS. The computer is incredibly fast. The CPU and the RAM are incredibly fast, but it's still your limitations in OS that a bunch of other stuff's going on. It's been going in and out of sleep every day because it goes to sleep on its own. I put it that way. I mean, it is faster when you reboot and you have nothing else running, but faster means like instead of 4 minutes, it's 3 minutes. It's not the end of the world. So this is going to take a moment. Look how slow it's going. Slow, right? So I ate my mango, I had my jerky. I have other videos I need to start working on editing and uploading. I think I'll be able to get through this whole... Wow, it's going really slow. Why is it going so slow today? See, it's only using like 1 CPU's worth of data, which is strange. So let's... I don't need that, I don't need that. Don't need Final Cut Pro right now. Don't need Lightroom. I'll turn all these off. I think that's it. So, wow, why is it going so slow? Normally it goes slow, but it goes like this. Whereas my old computer, I knew that this part would take as much as 15 minutes on my old computer, and I would just set that up and then go walk away. What I used to do is I would start the export process, which should take, like I said, about 70, 80 minutes. Start it, and then go about my day, and then know, okay, I started it at noon, it'll be done by 1:30. So then I'd come back around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then do this part. 16 minutes. But the first 5 minutes was downloading the images. 5 minutes of it was doing the entire Lightroom process. And now we're a couple of minutes into doing this part. It's normally not this slow. I think it's just because there's so much else that was going on, but it's also single thread. I still have access to Adobe Premiere, and Adobe Premiere is multi-thread, but I don't want to use that anymore. And then you can do this in Final Cut Pro, but you have to do a few more things, and this was usually the easier option, because this is, I mean, I do this for fun, and I do this as like a practice to keep me on my toes as far as camera usage. When I bought this new camera, I told myself I wanted to make at least 365 videos with it. So in the last year, I think I made 400. So I'm good with that. But I also just want to keep practice up, because I'm the type of person that if I stop practicing something, I start losing that real quick. So I have to just constantly just keep that ball spinning to keep my, and this is what it seems like, keep my practice up and keep things moving. I don't know. I just prefer doing it. I prefer having like a daily workflow like this, because I just think it's more fun. But why is it going so slow? So I'm going to stop it here. It's 19:25, and we'll be back in a second. What was making it slow? I was doing a screen recording because I wanted to show this. I turned the screen recording off, and it's doing what it's supposed to do now. See how it's moving? That's the way it normally moves. So it wasn't the computer as much as it was QuickTime trying to do two things at once, and it's not a multi-threaded app, so they're choking that one CPU, I'm guessing. I don't know. It still only uses 1%. See, it's done. So that was 30 seconds to do the last 3/4 of it. So I'm just going to save it and name it today's date. And there we go. So the whole process takes around 15 minutes or so, but if you're doing a screen recording and taking up resources, it takes a lot longer apparently. So that's it. That's the whole process. That's what I do. Any day that I'm at home, when it's the darkness starts, when it gets dark, when it's dusk, when the darkness starts. Any day that I can, that I'm available to set up the camera, to set up overnight, and the weather permitting. It's always weather permitting. If there's anything above like a 15% chance of rain, or I see any rain in the area, or it's just going to be cloudy, I always have to keep on top of the weather. I do that anyway. Keep on top of the weather. Then I don't do it. So for the last couple of weeks, it's been cloudy most nights, or it's clear during the day, and then once the heat of the day starts letting up, it gets cloudy in the evening and overnight. So anyway, that's done. I just wanted to document the process. It's a lot of fun. There's a bunch. If you go into my channel and go to playlists and look up the Starlapse playlist, there's a bunch of them if you're that bored. And for the last 30 to 40 of them, there's a song on there, and that's my song called To the Stars.